Right, let's bring you some breaking news that is reaching us in the last few minutes regards the Manchester United interim head coach role. We know it's between Michael Carrick and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Rob Dorsett has an update for us.
It's pretty clear to me now that Michael Carrick is the front runner to take over at Manchester United as interim head coach until the end of the season. Although Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is still very much an option for United's bosses, and they have made no final decision as things stand. But it's been explained to me that Jason Wilcox, United's director of football, plans further detailed discussions with Michael Carrick and his representatives today, and there are no such meetings planned with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer right now. I think that tells you everything you need to know about where United want to go with this, but still a lot to sort out. No contractual detail has been discussed or agreed, and I think Wilcox will want to discuss with Carrick in more detail exactly who he wants alongside him in this role, who will be part of his coaching setup. I think it's looking increasingly unlikely that Solskjaer will be involved in that. But what about Darren Fletcher, who's been in the caretaker interim role for the last 2 matches and who doesn't know yet whether he's going back to his substantive job with Manchester United's under-18s or whether he's got a role to play in the new setup. So I think the next 24 hours will be important for Manchester United and for Michael Carrick as they try to drill down and work out exactly how his new role will work and whether they can reach an agreement. But detailed discussions today to that end, as I understand it.
So there we go. Michael Carrick now in pole position to take the job for the remainder of the season as an interim boss at Old Trafford. More talks planned between Michael Carrick and his representatives at Manchester United today. Stephen Kelly, is that the right move? And look, the cynical view that I'll put across to you here, just playing devil's advocate, why are Manchester United interviewing for interims? Should that not have all just been done behind the scenes? And look, this is who we're going to go with. And then obviously they make the big call in the summer for the new guy coming in.
It does seem ridiculous. And it feels like the only reason they're doing it, and I'm just talking to Bridgie here about it, that is the fact that Wilcox wasn't there when Carrick and Solskjaer were there before. So it's like him getting the feel of those managers coming in to whether they can work together. Because obviously him and Amarim weren't, but if they can work together for the next few months and if there's a cohesion there to go forward. But it seems ridiculous. You just be like, we know the person we want to take over from now to the end of the season, and then we're looking at the bigger picture of those managers that we actually want to get in. But an interim manager, I don't understand what the discussions are. Like, they're not going to have much power in the buyings, the sellings. You know, I wouldn't have thought that's part of the contract. I would have thought they're going to come in to take care of the job between now and the summer, keep them steady, progress in the league if they can, and then whether or not, if they've done well, if they're trying to put something into their contract that potentially they could take over if they've done something extraordinary like Solskjaer did before. It's hard to know. Well,
we already know it's going to be another trophyless season for Manchester United because they're out of all cup competitions thanks to Grimsby and, of course, Brighton and Danny Welbeck, their former striker, yesterday. So here's the question. Do they have a big call to make, do you think, Stephen, now in terms of speaking to Michael Carrick behind the scenes and saying, no matter what you do, you're not going to get this job. Just don't get your hopes up. You're here as an interim. What if they are in a situation then where, bearing in mind, looking at the Premier League table, they're only 3 points off fourth place Liverpool right now. Say Michael Carrick does get them into a Champions League spot. There'll be a clamour again. Give it like Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Give it to him permanently.
Yeah, that is 100% what's going to happen. If he comes in and gets them Champions League football, that's everything they could possibly ask for from a manager, any manager, between now and next season. If that was any of the top names you're talking about, if they came in and secured Champions League, that's a success for Manchester United. So how then do you have the conversation where you're guaranteeing that they're going to go? And that's maybe what the discussion is.
Yeah, I keep hearing that United season's over. What nonsense. I mean, like, can still finish in the Champions League. Yes, they're not going to win anything, and that's still hard for Manchester United fans, and it's always a big story.
They're past that, aren't they? Now?
They could finish in the Champions League places. Yeah. So,
and fifth could be a Champions League.
Well, it probably will, because Europe, England are pretty much dominate. You know, Palace should be favourites for the Conference League. Villa, I would expect them to go really far in the Europa League and Champions League. The teams are doing well. So, yeah, it should be.
So if we're saying that, by the way, right now, and I know it's very early doors with 21 games gone, but they're only a point off fifth place. So all to play for.
Exactly.
But in terms of the runners and the riders long term, there will be plenty of names for the heir to the throne that was Amarim.
Well, we have our transfer shows, and everyone loves our transfer shows, but we could have some manager transfer shows in June, Will. Honestly, we'll be here in June with the manager transfer rap. You know, because we'll have possibly Thomas
Tuchel. That does catchy, that was it?
Yeah, I know, yeah. Well, we'll think of another one.
Rap.
But we've got
something a bit more.
Thomas Tuchel, Oliver Glasner. You know, Marco Silva's potential contract, Antonio Raya. You know, there's a lot
You
of...
say Tuchel? You say Tuchel?
Tuchel after England, possibly.
Yeah.
I mean, there's going to be a lot... Pochettino. There's going to be a lot of big
Eddie
names.
Howe, according to Roy Keane.
Well, there's going to be a lot of big names available. But as Stephen said, if Manchester United do qualify for the Champions League, then it's an issue.
So, look, take us inside what you think is how Manchester United are operating right now with Jason Wilcox, okay, with Omar Barada, both former Manchester City, and look, we haven't even mentioned Enzo Maresca's name as well, and I know they are very fond of him in terms of his time at Manchester City. And then you have Christopher Vivella in terms of head of recruitment. So will they want someone like Carlo Ancelotti, for example, after the World Cup with Brazil? Would they want someone who might upset the apple cart a little bit in Thomas Tuchel, or do they want someone to work very specifically within a structure as a head coach?
Well, it seems like with the people that are in charge that they want someone that's going to come in and toe the line, potentially, that's going to come in and be a head coach and organise things. Like Amran got sacked for saying he was the manager, basically. And that obviously upset the board, upset the people above him, because they said, no, we're in charge of off-field dealings. You can have a say, but you're not the final line on that.
But I don't get the feeling that, you know, someone like Marco Silva, Oliver Glasner, Thomas Tuchel, Carlo Ancelotti are going to accept that sort of role.
No, I don't. I think they want to have more power. But like, as an outsider looking in and looking at Manchester United and the way they are, the noise that comes from Manchester United is huge. Like, there's not many managers that can handle that sort of pressure or outside noise or the sense of expectation, even though there should be none at the moment. But the sense of expectation within that club, but outside that club, is enormous. So someone like an Ancelotti, who just seems to let stuff like that fall off his shoulders, never seems fazed, looks like he might be the perfect fit for someone like that. After Brazil, obviously, but that's a long time to come. And if he was successful for Brazil in the World Cup, then do you want to go to Manchester United, who won't even play Champions League? Well, potentially might not be changing Champions League football.
There we go.